afternoon and welcome to the Omni Coalition news show, also known as TOCNS. This show is an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss. For links to the articles, the music done by Carrera, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar in the description below. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and today is Woden's Day, also known as Odin's Day, also known as Wednesday, October 12, 2022. So also known as going on today. Anyway, let's just jump into the news, shall we? From Rebel News, update, court adjourned until January 2023 for Scottish woman charged after warrantless police search. That seems like kind of bullshit right there. The case of a mother and daughter being dragged through Scotland's justice system after an overzealous officer responded to an alleged breach of COVID restrictions has been adjourned until January 2023. During the height of pandemic lockdown craziness in January of 2021, police in Aberdeen, Scotland, were tipped off to an apparent illegal house party. Upon the officers' arrival at the home of Gabby Burnett, officers forced their way into Gabby's home without a search warrant. That's not cool. Gabby and her mother, Julie, told the officers to leave. Instead, the officers forced their way into the Burnett's home. In the confusion, Gabby tripped and ended up suffering a seizure. Remarkably, the officers instructed her mother and younger brother to stay away from her as well. Well, that's just not cool, man. Like, I'm not going to read this whole thing. There's a lot more here to read. So go ahead and go in the underbar, for the full story. But this is just god awful. The several layers of just disgusting, deplorable behavior on behalf of the government. And this is going on all over the world, unfortunately. And people have got to start standing up. Anyway, let's move on here. Got some more from Rebel News. Twitter's permanent ban policy under review ahead of Elon Musk takeover. Report. So what is this? Twitter has long maintained a policy of permanently banning users who violate its terms of service repeatedly, sometimes permanently banning users immediately in lieu of providing them with warnings for violations involving so-called misinformation, and other reasons beyond and other spurious reasons beyond what is expected of the platform. I can't read today for some reason. So I have a thing or two to say about all this. This is obviously a giant distraction ploy, because all the stuff in Ukraine isn't going their way, so that's why all this, happened. And, there's all these, conspiracy theories going around saying this, that, the other, and I'm not gonna, repeat all of them, but, the majority of them have some pretty, solid validation ground to stand upon. Especially seeing how everything else works these days, it's not hard to put two and two together and realize the truth. But this is wild. It says, with Elon Musk set to acquire the company, Twitter is now reviewing the controversial policy, potentially to bring its content moderation to be more in line with the Tesla founder's support for free speech. Yeah, currently. According to the Financial Times, Twitter is assessing if there are other content moderation tools to replace its policy of permanent bans, according to insiders who spoke to the publication. So once again, there's a lot more here to read, if you'd like to go check that out. Going to move on up. More from Rebel News. Maryland public schools record 582% increase in gender-diverse children. This is very concerning. Montgomery County Public Schools, Maryland's largest public school district, recorded a 582% increase in the number of students who identify as gender non-conforming in only 2 years, or confirming. The initial data was posted on Twitter by educator Alicia Earhart Bliss on October 6, which was part of a slideshow presentation. Which was part of a slideshow presented at a meeting of the school district's Pride Alliance. Daily Caller reported. I'll just read this next paragraph here. The data was gathered through forms provided by school counselors to students who reached out to their schools to discuss gender identity issues. The figures, which depend on self-reporting, saw a massive increase from 2019 to 2022 indicating how many students now identify as some variation of gender diverse, which includes gender queer, transgender, and so on. 582% increase, right? Yeah. Good lord. You know, ay. Like, how are we as a species going to get over this? Well, the whole world's not doing this, thank God. So that just means one way or another, this nation is going to fall. So here we go. Anyway, going to move on up into Oddity Central. Student tries to cheat on law school exam with intricately etched Bic pens. As you can see here in the picture, that is wild. A Spanish law school teacher recently shared one of the ingenious methods that one of her students used to cheat on an exam: a dozen of artistically etched Bic pens. Yolanda de Luci, a teacher at the University of Malaga in Spain, recently shared a couple of very interesting photos on her Twitter account. She was apparently cleaning up her drawers when she came across one of the more ingenious cheating methods she and her colleagues have confiscated. A few years back, one of her students tried to cheat on an exam by finely etching the criminal procedure law into 11 Bic pens. A close-up of the pens really showcases the skill of the student, who obviously put a lot of time and effort into these intriguing cheating techniques. Well, you know what, maybe if you put in that much time and effort into actually studying, into actually, I don't know, learning, what a concept, God, like, these people will put more effort into not doing something than what they would have exerted into actually doing the damn something. Ridiculous. So, anyway, let's move on up here. Some more from Oddity Central. Gullible woman scammed into paying $30,000 to help astronaut return to Earth. Oh, here we go. A Japanese woman was somehow fooled into paying 4.4 million yen, which is 30,000 US dollars, to help a Russian astronaut she had met online return to Earth from the International Space Station. It's not often that we feature news stories worthy of an Idiocracy sequel, but this is definitely one such rare occasion. To be honest, had it not been reported by two of Japan's largest news outlets, Mainichi and Kyoto News, we would have dismissed it as satirical piece by The Onion. But it turns out that a 65-year-old woman from Japan's Shiga prefecture really did fall in love with a man claiming to be a Russian astronaut and sent him $30,000 to help him hitch a ride back to Earth from the International Space Station. Really makes a Nigerian prince scam sound believable, doesn't it? Yep. Yeah. Huh. Wow. Like, every day I wonder how stupid humanity can get, and almost every day I get reminded. Good golly giggly gosh, man, no, this is insane. Anyway, let's see here. From the Mirror, girl at the age of 12 was called useless and sent video of how to tie a knot a week before her suicide. This is really sad here. Well, the link to this is in the underbar. I'm gonna start practicing not reading these darker ones because this is depressing. But yeah, the link to this is in the underbar. Go give it a look. That's really sad. Anyway, let's move on up here. More from the Mirror. Criminal released by Vladimir Putin to fight in Ukraine executed after trying to desert. A notorious underworld criminal released from prison by Vladimir Putin to fight for Russia in the war in Ukraine has been put to death after trying to desert in his country, reports claim. 47-year-old Tsar Ailev was one-third of the way through an 18-year sentence, when he was accepted as a fighter. He got his sentence ripped up under a controversial scheme that sees murders, hardened convicts, as well as other inmates to go free to sign up and go into battle. Pardon me. On release, they must spend at least 6 months on the front line fighting for Wagner private military company, which works closely with Putin's defense ministry. If they stay alive, the remainder of their sentence is wiped clean, and they are formally pardoned by the Russian president. So, and it goes on, obviously, that he deserted, and then he got executed after he got caught. That's really sad. Like, man, like, this is like a page straight out of, well, like a lot of books. The first thing I thought of was, why can't I remember it? That's StarCraft. That StarCraft cinematic, or all of the Space Marines are actually convicts or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on up here. More from the Mirror. RAF veterans flu jab warning after common sense illness obliterated and nearly killed them. Well, yeah. A common illness obliterated a Royal Air Force veteran's health and almost cost him his life. When Mark Beach was rushed to hospital with breathing problems, he didn't expect to wake up in intensive care more than 2 weeks later, and that his wife would be permanently changed. His life would be permanently changed, not his wife. Why can't I read today? Jeez. Mark had contracted the H1N1 strain of the flu, which was putting extreme pressure on his body. Fearing he might not pull through, doctors at Gisby Glen called his doctors to his bedside twice. Against all odds, Mark woke up in hospital a fortnight later. Not the video game. Fortnight is actually 2 weeks. Surrounded by life-saving equipment and nursing and medical staff in masks and gowns, reports North Wales Lives here. As he regained consciousness, he discovered doctors had fitted a tracheotomy to his throat to help support his breathing, but this had left him unable to speak. Mark was eventually discharged from the hospital, but says his illness had obliterated his life. It was a life-changing experience for me. I don't think I'll ever recover from it, Mark said. That is really sad. There's a lot more, obviously, as always, there's a lot more to read. But, yeah, like, you know, be careful what you put in your body, you know? Like, did you know, I think it's about by the time an infant is 2 weeks old, it's had no less than 35 inoculations. 35 shots. What are we putting into ourselves? This is not natural, you know? Like, it is crazy. Anyway, let's move on up here to UPI. Camel takes a drive-thru at an In-N-Out Burger in Las Vegas. Visitors to an In-N-Out Burger fast food restaurant, I can go for one of those right now actually, in Las Vegas were treated to an unusual scene when a man brought his camel through the drive-thru to enjoy some fries. A video filmed outside the eatery on October 4th, which was actually 8 days ago, so this is old, showed a dromedary camel named Fergie walking through the drive-thru lane with her handler, Brandon Nobles. Nobles told onlookers Fergie is a 14-year-old camel rescued from her former home in Colorado. The video shows Nobles take Fergie through the drive-thru to get French fries. She loves the French fries, so in yada yada. Then to close out here, Fergie now lives on Nobles' farm and has paid visits to numerous local businesses. Nobles' Instagram account features photos and videos showing Fergie visiting other restaurants including Wendy's and Einstein Bros Bagels. Huh. Okay, that's pretty interesting. This guy takes his animal around and, you know, drive-through. I mean, technically it can be mounted like a vehicle, so yeah. And what is this? Cheese problem solved. Well, doesn't tell me anything. If you have cheese problems, this is the book you need. So I guess if you have cheese problems, go give this a look. And then there's a failed suicide champion, which there's actually no information. What the hell is this? So there's that. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show today. I'm getting a little hungry. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links that you may be interested in, which includes Soen TV on Twitch, and, you know, everything but not limited to Omni Coalition. For your dose of different, odd, and otherwise unknown news, we stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 4 o'clock Central, and then 5 o'clock Eastern. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Aoxander, and you are you. And until you catch us, the new show this upcoming Friday, or if you want, you can check us out on 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for This Date in History, our history show, TDH. Anyway, until then, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles!